Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm your host Connor Monroe and I'm Dizzy. If you're new here or haven't yet, what are you doing? Be sure you like and subscribe to Top 10 Gaming for daily gaming content. We got top 10s like these and gameplay, so be sure to come back for that. Also, be sure to stick around until the end for some comment replies. Pokemon is full of lore, but what happens when the fans get a hold of it? Well, that's what we're exploring today with today's list of top 10 scary Pokemon gaming myths. Roll the intro. And at 10, Lavender Town. While we've all heard the story and I've used variations of it in previous lists, the story of Lavender Town Syndrome isn't true, guys. The story of Lavender Town Syndrome was completely made up and none of it is true. There was no spike in suicides in Japan until 1998, and that was due to bullying and other things similar to it. I am going off other articles I've seen and all my information may not be accurate, so I do acknowledge that. However, Lavender Town Syndrome is fake. It always has been and always will be. The reason it worked so well is because of the Lavender Town song. It's just creepy. It gives you a sense of dread and makes you feel like death is looming above your head. And it very well could be. However, it's not because of Lavender Town itself. The details included were well done, alleged case studies of dead children, and talking about Kyoto corporate disclosure laws that nobody can quite understand, and using a number of quotes from a supposed interview with a Game Freak developer. I mean, it was well done, but it ain't true. And at 9, you killed Radek. This rumor started after you battled your rival in Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town in the first games. It was because one of his Pokemon was missing and none of his other Pokemon had ever changed. And through the rest of the game, he keeps his team the same. The thing is, this isn't true. The Raticate your opponent had on the SS Anne is a lower level than it should be, assuming it evolved from Rattata, meaning your rival caught a Raticate and threw his Rattata in the PC, so he could have done this with other Pokemon. If he was smart, which he now seems to be, he could have gotten rid of the stupid Raticate because it's not a good Pokemon, and he can leave the spot open in his party for when he catches a better Pokemon so he doesn't need to go to the PC to retrieve it. If you want to use the argument that he might as well have filled up that spot, what about every other trainer in the game? What about the gym leaders? They don't have 6 Pokemon and you aren't complaining about them, so boom! Deal with it. And at 8, Pokemon creation. There are quite a few theories about how Pokemon was created. One myth seems to be that Pokemon were created by nuclear war. This was a common belief for me growing up, and I heard quite a few people suggest this, but it has evolved since with the release of Pokemon X and Y. They suggest that any new Pokemon we find, be it in the Galar region or Alola, including regional variants, were all created because of the Pokemon weapon, the one that AZ fired to bring back his beloved Floette. It cost hundreds of Pokemon their lives, and that energy had to have gone somewhere. It couldn't have just disappeared. The myth is that the firing of the weapon created all the new Pokemon we have and will find with the new regions, and maybe that's why there's only a few new ones in Sword and Shield, and perhaps those Pokemon were used to fire the weapon, hence why a lot of earlier Pokemon are, I guess, extinct in Galar. And at 7, finding items. Ever wonder why you can find random TMs in the forest or in a tall patch of grass? Well, the myth is that it's because you're finding the remains of a dead trainer. While this may be horrific to think about, it should make a lot of sense. Why would Flamethrower just be sitting in the grass in the forest? Why is this revive laying in this cave? Perhaps the trainer that left it was trying to revive themselves but couldn't. The Pokemon are probably the ones responsible for cleaning up the bodies. The Diglets bring them underground and the worm Pokemon feast on their flesh and insides. The myth has some legs, since in every other game the loot you get is dropped from enemies or left in chests because of enemies. So it would make sense for the same rules to apply in Pokemon, right? Well, we don't know for sure if this will ever be confirmed, but it's nice to think about how dark Pokemon can really be. And at 6, Master Ball. When I was growing up, I constantly heard that there was only a 99.9% chance for the Master Ball to catch a Pokemon, and that the percent was decreased if it was Mewtwo. I'm sure others have heard similar myths about the Master Ball not being a guaranteed catch, making every trainer terrified when they finally decide to throw theirs at their Pokemon of their choice. This was further pushed in generations 3 and 4, where there was a glitch in the catch rate calculation that caused the ball to have the ability to fail. This was caused by a greater than or equal to sign rather than a greater than sign. In order to catch a Pokemon, the game performs 4 separate checks. In a situation where you should have a 100% catch rate, there is a 1 out of 65,536 chance that this check will fail. This in theory gives the Master Ball a 99.994% catch rate. However, in Generation 5 this was fixed and you can once more have a guaranteed catch. Thank you. Halfway through at number 5, the Shadow. There has been a myth that Gengar is the shadow of Clefable for a long time, but there is a lot of evidence to support it. First, these Pokemon were some of the first ever designed, and Clefable was supposed to be the series mascot. They have similar shapes, their typing is the opposite to one another, not being able to affect one another either. And Gengar is known as the Shadow Pokemon, which is obviously a reference to him being the shadow of Clefable, right? Well, no matter what you believe, you know that Pokemon does some pretty messed up stuff, and that could mean that they had this planned all along, but are just hiding it because Clefable didn't take off in the way they wanted. And now everyone loves Pikachu. I think it would make sense. And at 4, Splash. You know what I'm talking about. It doesn't do anything and we know that. But we were all convinced that if we used the move enough, we would see something. Anything. We were hoping for something like Hyper Beam levels of destruction. The rumor I heard, or I think maybe I came up with to screw with Cameron, was that if you used Splash 10 times, it would instant kill, like Fissure, a one-hit KO. And I think I believed it too, because I wanted my Magikarp to be badass. Magikarp is still one of my favorite Pokemon, and that game, Magikarp Jump, oh boy, I was all over that. I even got a shiny Magikarp and I ended up nicknaming it, and now I have a shiny stuffed Magikarp on my bed right now with that same nickname. While he may have been useless until level 20, I still appreciate you, Magikarp. I'm useless until level 20 as well. And at 3, Pokemon Black. While this did start off as a creepypasta, the myth that this cartridge existed was believed by many. Pokemon Black is a tale that involves a hacked version of Pokemon Red. The cartridge is all solid black, and while playing, you fight as a ghost Pokemon named Ghost, who freezes opponents in fear and uses Curse on them. The game eventually fast forwards you to the future, showing you the destruction you caused with tombstones of Pokemon and trainers scattered across the landscape. Pokemon you cursed flash before your eyes as a reminder, and eventually you run into your old Pokemon ghosts. They would finish the job you started and curse you, deleting your save file for good. I didn't hear much about this as a kid, but I had heard about a cartridge like this that existed. It doesn't, but I heard about it and I'm sure you did too. And at 2, Pokemon Go War. The idea surrounding this myth was that the teams Mystic, Valor, and Instinct that we see in Pokemon Go were the factions that fought in the Great Pokemon War that we hear about in X and Y, as well as from Lieutenant Surge. The evidence surrounding this is that in Pokemon Go, the gyms don't have the same structures as they do in the main series of games. They are based on what team owns it, rather than a single gym leader running things. The Pokemon War erupted because the teams wanted to control all the gyms. This caused the factions to war and eventually created Team Harmony that established the gym systems along with the Elite Four and Champion. This would be wonderful, being able to tie in Pokemon Go to the main series games, but it's just not true. A director of the games went into some detail about the war in a Game Informer article, saying that the war was a clash between 2 different countries. So while it may be wicked sick, and being able to be a part of the Pokemon lore would be pretty awesome, it isn't true. Finally, and at number 1, the flute. We all know about the Pokemon flute, the magical instrument that is able to wake a sleeping Snorlax. Well, what if I told you it had an effect on you? That the Pokeflute in-game not only wakes a sleeping Snorlax, but it puts any human who hears it into a dream state, essentially replacing the Snorlax with you. That's why they wanted you to use it instead of them. This isn't the video anymore, this is a wake-up call from the outside. We need you back. We need you to wake up. What I'm telling you is true. None of this is real. It hasn't been since you heard that damn flute. Please wake up. Please come back to us. I know you don't recognize me. You think I'm only on YouTube. No, I'm your brother. Remember? You know you feel a connection and you can't deny it. Please, come home. Mom and Dad miss you. I miss you. We need you to wake up. Lavender Town Syndrome isn't real, but Pokeflute Syndrome is. Please wake up. Please. The dream is taking me back. I wasn't able to stay free for long. So come on and fight! There we have it, friends, the top 10 scary Pokemon gaming myths. If you enjoyed, be sure you hit like and subscribe to Top 10 Gaming for daily gamer content, and we are so close to 300,000 of you guys. Also, be sure to comment down below with your favorite Pokemon myth. While you do that, I'm going to read out some comments from a past video. Benedict Cristianto said, "If no one sees them, then how do you know about them? Just, okay." Emma the cat said, "Hi Connor, going in tomorrow to see why I can't walk. Hope I don't need surgery, lol." I hope you don't either, Emma. How did things go? I'll wait patiently for your reply in the comments. Samantha Valdivia said, "Do an Xmas thing, I don't know." That's a good point. Do you guys want to see any holiday themed list? Be sure to let us know in the comments, or any Christmas themed games you'd like us to see. Sound off in those comments. That's all we got time for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been and shall remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video. Wake up. The details including, end of the day. The myth is that this cartridge existed. The Pokemon you cursed flashed before your eyes, and as a reminder and event.